Hi, welcome to Academy of Tone 223. Tonight with the 10 best Strats tone. Well, everybody knows that I love my Strat and I love other Strats as well. I thought it would be nice to have an episode dedicated on all the great tones we can get from this guitar. And while preparing this episode, I went through a few iconic tones that I thought, wow, they have a definite quality, and it reminded me why I'm a Strat fanatic, a Strat fan. And of course I want to share some of my settings with you, being it with my traditional amps or the Amp1. Just to explain you the setup for tonight, what I was actually using in the intro song as well. On the one there is the Amp1, mainly for what I was playing, and just in the middle section I was switching to this beautiful Fender Super Reverb over here. Okay, this is a 64 Fender Super Reverb with the real Echotronic spring on the side, which you can see under the light. Well, the thing is kind of on, Lucas is showing this next to the shelf. Well, anyway, and then there is my Vox AC30 behind of me, which is that beautiful fellow. And so I have a, I would say a classic setup in the house with the original amps that people have been using to create those tones. And I do have my Amp1 setup, and we can of course compare. And I have a Marshall, which is of course on 4, and it needs to be switched on here. But I kind of think the Amp1 is even better sometimes. Hey, before we dive into these tones, I want to make a little bit the cleanup for what's going on, what's happening, what's up. First of all, I had a lot of fun playing a gig on last Thursday with Alex Bayreuth. Alex Bayreuth, the owner of this guitar. Yep. It's his signature model, ESP. And yeah, we had tons of fun playing together, doing of course some rock classics, no rehearsal. This was in Düren, some airfield. The first time ever they have started this kind of open air there. Nice atmosphere, big fun with David Friedman on vocals, Gully on bass and vocals, Tommy Fisher on drums, and of course myself and Alex on guitar. Lots of trading licks, lots of sharing, lots of everything. I was shooting a very short video what was going on stage, and it was actually the Amp X, which is this fellow over here. Oh, still on 7. You can see the master was still on 7. I just got it out of the box. Maybe the camera can even show how dirty this thing is. Shouldn't touch it because I just washed the hands actually before the stream because everything was so dirty. So it was nice to be in the field testing the Amp X versus an Amp1 Iridium, which Alex was using. And we both played fat caps. Yeah. There's a little like rig rundown I have done. Yeah, just watch it so you know what kind of gear was on stage. Enjoy. Hey guys, this is a little rig rundown from my concert with Alex Bayreuth. This is my spare Strat, a BluGuitar 61 master build. I have the real 61 over there in, well, my gig bag. Of course, I'm playing the Amp1 prototype, yeah, with the expression pedal as wah-wah. Direct out here to my speaker cabinet there, guitar input, and that's all I'm using. This is my cabinet, the good old Fat Cap, which is actually the first prototype ever built, and I enjoy the worn out speaker. Alex is having a new one. He's playing the Iridium, the Blue Box. Yeah, these are his settings. Hey, just show it to the guys in a close-up. Here we have the vintage channel, you know, all the settings. This is now the time to his Maybach guitars, the Ziggy Brown, and this is his pedal board with a guitar slinger, which is his own brand, double dealer, which is a combination of a Rangemaster and a Tube Screamer. That's just the power supply. This is a tuner, Noah Sark Japanese, I think drive pedal, Phase 90, everybody knows that, phaser. Then he has noise suppressor, which is and two delays for two different delays. There is a Crybaby wah and there's another Boss shifter and some. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, we had some fun. By the way, there is another concert coming up this weekend on Saturday in Tettnang, which is on the Lake Constance, which is Rock Anarchy featuring Andreas Kümmert, who is like the winner of the Voice of Germany or something like this. He's a killer singer, the guy with the beard. And then we have also a female singer. She's also playing the Rhodes Mark 1, Svenja Schmidt. Svenja is a killer voice, killer musician. And then of course us three, the Rock Anarchy, which is myself, Gully, and Tommy Fischer. Tommy is a killer drummer, and he keeps us together. We can go wild, and he is the man in the background that keeps the ends together so that we can do our crazy stuff and the beat doesn't get lost. Yeah, for those who are interested on the song that I was playing at the intro, it's a nice old instrumental by myself. It's called Have You Ever Been to Strawberry Fields? Forever. No, but you know, it's kind of using Jimmy and the Beatles in one song, a combination of two iconic word plays, so to speak. Yeah, and somebody was asking in the chat what I was actually switching on the floor. Lately I have a remote one here, which is this, so I can switch off the boost, or I can switch the channels of my Amp1. I mean, we can maybe see in the camera. Yeah, so I mean, this is what I was doing. And the other pedal on the floor, which I used for the Vox especially, is my Replex. Let me show you that one. The Replex is a tape echo that I designed with Hughes and Kettner back in the days. And let me switch it on. So you hear what but actually, oh, my Vox. I tried to spice up the Vox with the delay, like shadows. Yeah, without, you know, the magic is in the delay. But yeah, we will talk about all these great Stratocaster tones in a minute. So these were the pedals I was using in the intro song. Well, before we actually get to the full tones, the tones that we know, I would like to explain the Strat and the pickups a little bit. Well, 3 pickups. There's a bridge pickup, there's a middle pickup, and there's a neck pickup. The bridge pickup is kind of, wait a minute, let me go back to Amp1 because that's the only one that is quiet. All the tube amps here, they have noise going on. So the bridge pickup has a lot of high-end brightness, has the twang and all that stuff. The middle pickup is kind of a balanced pickup, and the neck pickup is the warmest on a Strat. The Strat is kind of the first guitar that had actually like a middle pickup. Before that I have seen like a Les Paul with a bridge and a neck, and the 3 pickups is a unique feature to the Strat, which is of course defining a lot of the sound of the guitar. And like on a modern Strat, or everybody these days uses a 5-way switch. Back in the old days there were 3-way switches and you had to find the in-between positions. But yeah, I mean, this comes handy. We don't have to sacrifice too much and swap a pickup selector switch and put a 5-way switch in. I think that's if you are really playing the guitar, you should do that. Yeah, and I have done this many years ago on my 61 Strat because I'm a player and not a collector. My 64 Strat, which is upstairs, has still the original, never soldered 3-way pickup selector switch, just because it's probably more value for the guitar. So I didn't touch that, but I don't play that guitar live anyway. Okay, let me show you the character of the pickups and what you can do with it, but I would love to do this in a very like sterile way. And this is kind of my first sound already. So I unplug the amp and I use a cable that goes straight into my mixer. This is actually the mixer that you guys are hearing in the stream. Some cheap Behringer. So this is the guitar cable and I will plug this into the guitar. So, and as we can hear, it sounds pretty boring. So the reason for that is this guitar, and especially the pickup, feels like dull. So what I'm doing is now I plug in the guitar into, this is now the guitar cable. Okay, let me show so you see the proof. This is the guitar cable. And I plug this into a tube screamer and I switch it off. Okay, on, you see the LED, and off. So I'm still in the mixing console And so now we hear the pickups as they should sound. By the way, the mixer is totally flat, no EQ, no high, well, you can't see, but it's like all in the middle position. Middle, all middle position. And the difference we could hear is just having a real high impedance input, which is this good old Tube Screamer has a buffer amp. It's not true bypass, and this kind of buffer amp gives you a high impedance input, probably a mega ohm, and that brings the pickups alive. So to have a good Strat tone, I think you have to have a high impedance input to make your Strat alive. So now let's simply talk about the pickups as they are into the mixer without any amp feel or anything, so you can hear the basic character of the pickups as they are. Bridge position. Well, to me, that's the, okay, scratchy pot. That is the bridge pickup of a 61 Strat that sounds, I would say, a little bit like country, a little bit like a Telecaster. Maybe we can compare. But I think I have the Tele in a different tuning. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I change. This is still in the good old tuning of but let's go for the Strat. So, bridge pickup on a Telecaster and bridge pickup on a Stratocaster are not that far. Of course, the Tele is specialized as it's the super simple construction. This is a floating bridge, but just here. I think we can definitely recognize some of that DNA of a Telecaster here. So that is like the first position on that 5-way switch. If I switch to the second position, I have the in-between position of bridge and middle pickup. So this is what we get. Compared to bridge, the bridge is more aggressive and the in-between has this kind of quacky sound. Mind, this is still straight into the mixing console, flat. Okay, Next position, middle position. Yeah, to me a very balanced sound, not too boomy in the low end. Still has some of the quality of that bridge pickup. But it's kind of more balanced towards yeah, a fuller high end compared to the bridge. Okay, and still has some twang. Yeah, very balanced. Some twang, a little bit of warmth, not too much of anything. Which probably is the reason why a lot of people don't go for it. But it has its qualities, especially in the studio. That's a pickup that I used a lot for clean tones. Next position, number 4, is the in-between position of the middle pickup and the neck pickup. And that has an out-of-phase sound as well. So we recognized Jimi was using an in-between position at a time when there was not even a 5-way switch. So he knew about the secret between middle and neck position. Listen to Axis Bold as Love, Little Wing, the song on Axis Bold as Love, 1967 I think. And from what I know, there was not even a 5-way switch back then. Okay, and finally there is the neck position, which is a fuller, rounder, I compare it to a position number 4 with the out-of-phase sound of middle and neck. You can hear there's a lot of sparkle because these pickups kind of have a little cancelling effect. So some of the mids are cancelled. Yeah, and as we can hear in my guitar, there's even hum cancelling going on because I have a reverse wound pickup here. These are original Fenders and this is a reverse wound pickup. This is all modern because I'm a player. I want a guitar that is as quiet as possible, and I don't need to be 100% authentic when I have a better life as a player with less hum. So okay, very fast. It's like this is our neck. This is our in-between number 4. This is the middle position. This is position number 2, in between bridge and middle. And the bridge position. Okay, so this is how it sounds straight into a mixer. That's not a magic tone, but a good starting point because neutral. The iconic Strat tones, of course, have been created with amps, like real amps, except for some session work. And that's like my first iconic sound is what we just heard now, straight into the mixing console. You know, it's like yeah, Nile Rodgers, Chic Le Freak. He played a Fender amp, but he also played tons of straight into the board guitars, and that's a sound that we all have heard many times. When I did session work back in the 90s, that is one of the sounds that was used a lot because it was actually hip back in these days. Amps were also cool, but that straight into the board sound was important to know how to get it. And the trick is having a high impedance input for your guitar, like a pedal or, you know, any microphone input that had like a high impedance thing. But as guitar players, we all have these kind of pedals. So get one of the pedals, plug into the board, and you're good to go. This can be the line input. And then, of course, we can tweak the sound and get to the 80s sparkle sound by increasing the highs. Okay, that's a typical 80s okay, bone dry, but you know what I mean. This is the foundation for some of the studio sounds. Okay, studio clean. Next sound I will plug into my amp setup, get rid of the tube screamer, and I'm using this here, which actually goes into my amp switcher. So let me first show you a typical sound of a Fender amp, which is this baby over here. Okay, with tons of reverb like just now, it sounds more like the surf sound, which I'm talking about later in specific. But I think a nice clean tone with like on the edge of breakup is something that is so good on a Fender Stratocaster. And we can use that kind of with any pickup on the Strat, but the magic, there's some magic combinations. Mark Knopfler, for instance. Okay, I should switch to a cabinet that is also Fender, like I was on a Marshall cabinet. Okay, getting rid of the pick. if I would play on the bridge position, it's kind of harsh. You know, it's like too aggressive, too much. So position number 2 takes off that too much aggression. So it's a nice yeah. Mind that I'm not using a compressor or anything. This is just the Strat pickup position in between, like number 2, into a pretty cranked Fender Super Reverb 1964. And this is yeah. You can hear that position number 2 talks. Actually, number 3, middle position, is not that bad either. So this was only fingers, but also yeah. And here we already have some blues kind of things in the middle position. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Back to the position number 2. For some reason, I prefer number 3 for the blues, and number 2 is iconic Mark Knopfler. Okay. Number 4, in between position of middle pickup and neck pickup, is yeah. This is actually what Jimmy used. Most people, including myself, play that on the neck position. Yeah, probably live versions, and it's very handy, and it sounds killer too, no worries. But Access Boulderslav, the original, is position number 4, in between. Okay, so this is kind of my, I would say, country on the edge of breakup tone. how can you check? I see a question here by René. How can you check that the middle pickup is reverse wound? The easiest would be you have a pickup. Do I have a pickup here? Yeah, I have one in the next room, but this takes too long. And then if you have you hold the pole pieces, let's say this thing here would be a pickup. Get a spare pickup. And the magnets, yeah, they would kind of stick out this way. So we see the pole pieces on the pickup. And then when you put the pole pieces towards a pickup in the guitar like that, you can feel the tension if it's pushed away or if it's kind of sucked to the other pickup. And if they all have the same behavior, like all the three push or all the three, then there is no reverse wound and reverse polarity pickup. Reverse wound and reverse polarity goes together because this is what you do to get the hum cancelling effect. And yeah, so get a pickup and feel it. That's the easiest way. I don't have a separate pickup lying around here, do I? Maybe, maybe not. I could show it, but not today. Okay, so that's the way how to to check that. Anything else in the chat here? Let me see. Is there treble bleed on the Strat? Yes, but I tried not to use that treble bleed at all up until now. You know, so every sound that we heard so far, excluding the intro song, was just using full volume, full tone, and not even my dummy coil in the guitar. So like, I wanted to show you the classic Strat tones as they are when you get a stock, well, a good stock Fender Stratocaster. No specialties of mine, they come later, okay? But like, to sum it up, the clean Fender tone on the edge of breakup is killer, especially when we using the in-between positions, when we use the middle position and the neck. The bridge position makes it, I would say, country-like. Okay, then if you add more volume or gain, or let's say drive the amp harder, you get into this Stevie Ray Vaughan territory. Like, there is your bluesy sound. Let me show you. Yeah, everything on full and just a cranked Fender Super Reverb. No secrets, this is Stevie Ray Vaughan. Of course we can add the tube screamer for more terror, but it's actually not needed. The sound is already there, I believe. 64 Super Reverb Killer Amp. Yeah, and it has to be woolly and a little bit, I don't know, to me. What's going on here is tube amp beauty. It's, you know, every stage is driven, maxed out, cranked. A lot of yeah, tube goodness. Everything is driven so hard. This is kind of the blues guys. This is where they get the gain from, just cranked Fender amps. I mean, this is where it all started. Can you hear that noise crackling? Sorry. Hello. Okay. Somebody is asking if I get a Les Paul style Chucky palm mute sound from a Strat. Sure. One day I will show you that you can get any sound from a Strat, because I'm a Strat fanatic and I found a solution for anything. But here's your palm mute. Mind, we are still on the Fender amps. I will show you on a Marshall later. But just to get rid of that noise from the Fender, I go for my Amp1. So, as we can hear, Amp1 does it too. And the recipe to get there is simple. Crank the clean volume, because there's your clean break-up sound, and get some boost with it. And we're there. Yeah, when it comes to the less overdriven sounds that we heard before, just reduce the volume here to like 7. Maybe a little bit master. Yeah, I pushed the mids a bit, but anyway, just middle position. The basic thing is the amp needs to be in the clean channel, and it needs to be pushed a little bit or less pushed for a cleaner sound. Okay, then there are some iconic sounds that I associate with Jimi Hendrix. I mean, to me, Jimi Hendrix is probably one of the greatest guitar players of all times, in the way of being an innovator, which means introducing sounds that we haven't heard before. We just heard this kind of Okay, there's one sound of Jimi Hendrix which is a clean sound, but he also used effects, and one of the effects that I find pretty iconic is a vibe. Let me show you. Let's get the guitar into the Deja vibe and put this in front of the amp. Okay, that's the one sound, but it's not really Hendrix yet, because we need to switch to the vintage channel, which is kind of a Marshall. Okay, that's Hendrix style. This vibe actually features a switch bright dark, and sometimes I prefer the dark. Let me show you. And I probably prefer it with a boost, because the boost gives me everything more, and then this darkens the guitar. Yeah, for me, the dark is kind of having more rumble and more seasick feeling. That's a Strat sound, and as you could hear, I was using any kind of pickup with that, and I was now using the volume as well to clean up the sound. And a Strat and a vibe, of course, being introduced by Jimi Hendrix is one of those great sounds. We can still have sounds heard like that from people like David Gilmour, Pink Floyd, you know. But probably even less effects and having it a bit more phasery. yeah, this is a beautiful vibe effect. Maybe we can hear the same thing with a tremolo, which we can find in Fender amps. Oops, let me make sure that I'm not getting too much noise output. Hello. Out, in. And we need power. Okay. It's also a nice effect, but it's not that magic vibe that we heard from Jimi Hendrix. Of course, talking Jimi Hendrix, we have to go through the fuzzes. This is actually an Octavia fuzz. This is kind of the wildest thing on this planet. Out is this side, and in is this side. And of course, we are talking more effects now, but honestly, it is a Strat thing more than anything else, I believe, because the Strat loves effects. And this is a lot of noise. Anyway, so this Octavia fuzz, Strat and fuzz, Jimi Hendrix is kind of a super iconic sound combination in my opinion. And now we're coming to my hero, which is Ritchie Blackmore, who combined the Strat with a treble booster, the Rangemaster. And this is a device that pushes amps over the cliff. And this is what you can do with a Vox AC30. This is his starting point and what he has later done with Marshalls. The benefit of the treble booster is that it cuts all the low end and increases the gain a lot, so you can achieve high gain on old amps, on vintage amps. I've done this many times. I can do it one more time. But this is such a noisy device as well. You will hear it in a second. Prepare for being noisy. I show you on the clean channel first. There's our range master. The bypass sucks because it sucks all the high end as well. But okay, I'm on the clean channel here, and you can already hear that this thing goes over the cliff. Yeah, let me show you what happens. Sorry guys, I have to switch to a Marshall stack cabinet and then we are back in the right territory. Yeah, mind we are on the clean channel, so okay, and you can hear the noise. Okay, but you get the trick. I can even combine this with my Vox AC30, which is the Amp1 loop number. Yeah, but the problem is I have to insert it so it's before the. Let me do it real quick. Okay, this cable is now the guitar. Wait a minute, I'm getting confused. This cable, yeah, okay, is input. And then this cable is the output that goes into the switching system. So I can route the signal to the Vox. See, there's my beautiful Vox. And here's my range master. I think we know that noise. Yeah, Ritchie Blackmore, the Rangemaster treble booster into an old school Vox or Marshall or similar setting on the Amp1 is one of my favorite sounds. And let me explain you why. Because it's clean when you are on a low setting on a guitar, even on a Strat without any treble bleed. The treble booster gives you that nice cleaning up space. By the way, exactly the same thing happens with the Jimi Hendrix Fuzz. And that's the other side. Wait a minute, I just get rid of the noise. That's the other side of these pedals. They give you the overdrive or the fuzz sound, but on the other hand, when you reduce the volume on the guitar, you get a beautiful clean range. And this was channel switching 60s style or early 70s style. And that's so powerful with the Strat. Magic combination. And yeah, we just hear it here with that 1964 Vox AC30 and the Rangemaster. And what did I switch off? The amp. By the way, a little bit of help for my Replex tape echo, just for fun, okay? It's not a Ritchie Blackmore thing, but I have no band, so my echo, I love my echo, and it's noisy too. Yeah, this is all vintage gear. 61 Strat, 64 AC30, and I don't know the year, but it's an original OC44 Rangemaster. Clean to mean all on the volume of a Strat. What else do you want? It was already invented. No channel switching, just yeah, beautiful sounds without modern amps. And still tons of character. Okay, actually there's a sound that takes this to a gainier level, and it has been used by a guy that is even speedier, heavily inspired by Ritchie Blackmore, and then taking the whole thing to another level, gain-wise and speed-wise, Yngwie Malmsteen. And his trick is a overdrive pedal. It's the Digitech DOD 250. I don't have the pedal here right now, but I think 2 years ago or so, with a nice summer haircut, I was doing an episode on this pedal, and we have a little video clip that shows what it does. The DOD is a super simple overdrive pedal that has an asymmetrical clip, which means it's diode clipping, but it's it has a rich and creamy tone character. I would say it's a very simple schematic and a very simple circuitry that sounds best to me when plugged in front of a Marshall amp that is plexi style and being overdriven. Just watch that little clip here and you will get a feel for Yngwie Malmsteen's tone. Okay, you get a picture. Of course, you know, we can like refine the whole thing with a Yngwie signature Strats that has different style of pickups. I think he uses DiMarzio, blah, blah, blah. But for me, I wanted to show you what you can do with a Strat and that you actually are able to do high gain with it. And to me, the Strat is probably the most versatile electric guitar out there. I know there are people playing Paul Reed Smith guitars that have more features like split humbuckers and, you know, special circuitries. I would love to have a challenge, as I have been doing all my sounds with a Strat when I went to play live on stage. I had pedals and amp settings and whatnot to be so flexible to get all my different sounds needed. So I know the trick how to make a Strat almost sounding like a Les Paul, almost. I have, you know, special pedals that I made myself for solving that issue, because I didn't want to switch for another guitar in a live situation. I always felt like it's better to stay with one guitar and just play that the whole night, and only when a string breaks or it gets out of tune, get another Strat. But that's me. Of course, other people have different philosophies and they change their guitars for each song. Fair enough, different philosophy, all good. But back to my challenge is, if somebody out there is capable to do all the sounds from disco, funk, straight into the board from what we heard and what we will hear. With a Les Paul, for instance, send me some hello, and I would love to do that kind of challenge. It's like Strat versus Les Paul, and learn how you make your Les Paul, for instance, so flexible. Because I spent my whole entire life to make the most out of a Stratocaster, and that was quite a journey, and it was quite interesting what I learned from that. And I'm sure if somebody out there has done the same thing with a Les Paul, because it's like, I'm only playing Les Paul and I do everything with my Les Paul, show me your whatever long trend running sound on a Les Paul, show me your, you know, all the cliches stuff. I would be up for that. Okay, anyway, let me show you. We are here. Simple DS1 overdrive pedal, and if I use that and do cascaded gain, it's not the DO, I know the DOD 250, but I can try to get something in that direction real quick. Level less, let me show you. Yeah, it's way too much level. So maybe it's in between an overdrive and a boost setting. See, this is my clean sound. It's a touch of drive, and yeah, not too much gain. And now I will show you how this sounds with cascaded gain. So I will switch this to my vintage channel that has already more gain. Listen. So the recipe for Yngwie is get the real pedal, but it's having a overdrive pedal in front of an already overdriven amp. That is the amp. And guess what? It also cleans up. It's a bit noisier than the puristic approach, but yeah, check out that combination for your Strat. And being influenced on the pickup settings by Richie Blackmore, now it makes sense to go to the extremes, like the bridge pickup for that bite. for the neck position. So I have that aggression, and we had a question earlier, do I get a chuck out of that? Let's get rid of the delay, and I show you with this and the single coil I can get. And now on the neck position we have that what I call the Ü, like über, a very, because it has that vocal Ü, very German, Ü. Okay, that's an Ü. Yeah, but if you are using Amp1, you go for classic channel, have the boost on, and there's a... That's the Amp1 by itself, so not so different using the internal boost. Okay. We had that sound already that I call the surf sound, Dick Dale and the Fender family. Here we go. That's a clean sound on the edge of breakup, plus the spring reverb. Or we go with a different amp like the Vox and have it combination with my Replex tape echo, and we are in Shadowland. And we also have that, you know, what some people call the spaghetti western tone, which I love as well. It's such a Stratty thing. tape delay, Vox AC30, it's a classic. Talking about delay, well, then we are already in U2 land. Let's do, well, we can do it with the original Vox. Here we have a Vox. Yeah, my Vox AC30 has a switch that switches between non-top boost and top boost. Now I'm back on the top boost setting, which engages the tone stack, and I have cranked the treble all the way up and reduced the bass a lot, so I get this real bell-like sound. So this is using the in-between position, number 2, which means between the bridge pickup and the middle pickup. I kind of like also the middle pickup by itself for this kind of sound. So this is like the U2 sound, which is also a lot based on Strats. I mean, at least those iconic Strat tones. Yeah, this was, by the way, the Vox AC30 with all these beautiful amps are a bit noisy. Doing this same thing with a... now Amp1. So I can do the same thing, but it's less noisy. It's, yeah, it simply works. Okay, there's a 10th sound with SD1. I see a discussion going on, SD1, DS1, whatever. Well, there's another sound that some people really don't expect from a Strat, because they always think of that, you know, clean side of the Strat and maybe Stevie Ray Vaughan-ish bluesy side. But I think David Gilmour showed us the way how to use a Strat being super fat, and I can probably try it with a starting point in the old days with a big muff overdrive pedal. Fuzz is kind of a thing between fuzz and overdrive. Which one is... So this might be input and this could be output. Let's see what we get from here. Get rid of the delay and get rid of that kind of noise. Okay, let's see what I can get. What I want to create is first the vintage big fat sound that probably is still Hendrix influenced, and then later something like high gain, like Comfortably Numb, which is just a beautiful high gain sound with a Strat. And let's listen. So. Yeah, fucking good old big buff. And this was, oh sorry. So, and now we can try to have a bit more modern pedal, like the Friedman, and see what we get from this pedal here. Output. And this is the input, correct. We need power for this one. And this goes in here. So it works. Okay, let's see what we get here. Okay. So I'm getting in front of the clean channel and just show you some high gain from a pedal. So, okay, a bit noisy, but any complaints about a Strat not getting a decent hero overdrive sound? Well, Yngwie is an example, Blackmore is an example, but I think Gilmour is even a better example. So there is nothing wrong about that. And by the way, I don't need a pedal like that. I can switch to the modern channel here, and there's my Guitar Hero sound coming from the Amp1 directly. So easy peasy. Okay, and then we have variations of all that overdrive pedals. Let's get something like Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson is this one here. Sorry, that takes a full episode actually to go for Eric Johnson. Maybe I can do a real quick one. Instrument input, and I can do a instrument output, and then I should be able to be let's turn down the volume a little bit. So there's my clean sound. Let's do it Eric Johnson style. So, and then we have the real tube overdrive. And so on. I'll do a special on Eric Johnson. That's actually worth doing it because he took Jimi Hendrix fuzz and that kind of real tube overdrive into his sound arsenal and to a very, very nice level that is super inspiring as a Strat player, and being one of the first Strat players that had actually like two iconic sounds, like that's real tube overdrive and the fuzz, and maybe his clean tones. So, well, you know, like Gilmour has also a few sounds that made him famous, and Mark Knopfler too. There's the Strat side of Mark Knopfler, and then there is the Les Paul Brothers in Arms side, which is also Mark Knopfler. And talking about that, there's the wah-wah pedal, which is also a great combination with the Strat. You can do all that quacky streets of San Francisco and disco things. Of course, that can be done with other guitars as well, but it goes very well with the Strat. Then Jimi and Stevie Ray Vaughan using that. A wah and a Strat is, I think, a killer combination. So there we have it. And finally, I just wanted to show you my own Strat tone that is kind of my personal summary of all of these tones we just heard, because basically what I'm doing is wait a minute, plug in here. Where is this going? One cable is missing. Where is it? Ah, sorry. This is the cable missing. So now, okay. For me, my life with the Strat, StratKing Award by Fender. So my life with the Strat is okay, long time ago, 20 years ago. And I had all my sounds back then as well. I had my sounds even at a very young age with the vintage amps, and now I have them all with my Amp1, because basically what I have done is putting, you know, my amp collection in a tiny little box here that I can take anywhere, and yeah, so I have them always with me. My own recipe for Strat sounds is, I do have a dedicated clean channel, yes, but I only use it very rarely. I use it when it's needed for the typical headroom clean sounds. This is when I go for that clean channel, when I want a rhythm guitar, get rid of the delay, and have a sparkling, funky or jazzy dedicated clean tone. Or have just a, middle position is also nice for cleans. And Hendrix Clean Amp Fender World. And I use every of the 5 positions in that world because these are nice colors. But that's not Thomas Blug. Thomas Blug lives in the vintage world, so I use the vintage channel on the Amp1 engage here, and most of the time I use the boost on top of that, and that is all I need, because now I can play on a low setting on the volume. I have all the options and all the tones on my volume knob. Okay, it's down to the treble bleed that I use on the guitar. It's about, well, 180 picofarads I was using the old days. Now I increased a bit more because I'm a junkie for the high end. So I increased to 220, and that's yeah. Clean on 3 and crunch on 5 and lead on 10. That's basically all I do, and it's all on the volume control, so I don't even need channel switching or presets. I still enjoy to have that, and I still use it once in a while, especially when I switch to channels with more gain, like the classic or the modern channel here. But actually, I don't need that. I'm living in the vintage world. The boost, and then the volume on the guitar, a little bit of tone here and there, and that's all I need. I can have a nice quacky Jeff Beck tone when I go in position number 2, because I don't have a tone control for my bridge position, but this is like, if I want such a tone, I can have anything. So that is my super setup. Of course, we all have our preferred sounds, and not everybody needs all those sounds, but I thought I would be happy to show you what I'm doing with the Strat and what my 10, 11, 12, 14 sounds that I get from a Strat, how they sound like. And of course they can be refined, but this was a quick overview and a few inspirations hopefully for you guys. And I always call this the cooking recipes, like combine this with that and you get there. You can do this with any kind of amp setup. Is it vintage gear? Is it modern gear? Is it digital gear or analog gear or the Amp1? Anything can do it, and of course it will all end up in the upcoming Amp X. Can you see the X? There's an X, me and the X. Okay. Okay, let's see if we have a few questions left. Rob Lucas, tone chasing is addictive and causes gear acquisition syndrome. Bad. Yes. Here is my comment for that. I think it's phases. You should have the desire to get a new color in your life with a guitar or a pedal or a tone, and then you can kind of work with that, and then you will find out what this has to do with you, and in the end you just do it like I just explained. It's like I have all that stuff, and in the end I just play more or less one sound. That's 90% of what I do lives in this vintage channel, and the rest is fun toy moments which I learned over the years, having that gear acquisition syndrome, and the leftovers from that are the fun things, and we're also contributing a little bit to my own sound. But the thing is, it's okay to try out things and then see what stays in your arsenal as gear and as style. So it's okay to have it, but don't overdo it. It's like eating different kind of foods. If you have everything at the same time, it's too much. Just get to know it, work with it, and then reflect on it, and then see whatever you will use in the long run. David Gilmour live at Pompeii 2000. Yeah, there's some killer David Gilmour sounds. Eric Johnson sounds fine on his records, but live it sounds more like a synth, a bit too much for. Givey, I have similar experiences, but some of his tones are incredible, so I would love to revisit the good ones that he has done, because to me these were outstanding. It's not only like, okay, he has a good tone. No, he has a very unique and iconic tone, because it goes together with what he plays, and not so many guitar players can achieve that. Giffy again at Rob Lucas, when I used my Strat with a single DS1 directly into my 1987X, which is what I have behind me, it sounded way too thin and harsh, hence I found blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, there's the combination of these DS1 and SD1 overdrive pedals into Marshalls. That's why I have them here as well, and they give you that Guitar Hero quality. Yeah, talking about Satriani, I'm thinking about to do an episode about him as well. Okay, what's going on here? I do have the perfect speaker to use it, a full range Mesa Boogie 200 watt. Okay, I don't get this discussion. Black Shadow, yeah, that's the Mesa Boogie speaker. Hello Thomas, not forget Hans Lingenfelder aka Ricky King. Yeah. Here in Germany we have our version of the Shadows, and Hank Marvin, who is artist name is Ricky King. His regular name is Hans Lingenfelder. Nice guy, I met him. And he sold millions of records, and he's German, yes. but I think he jumped on the wagon that the Shadows and all them started. But at least he wrote good tunes and some melodies, and the guitar with melodies is my cup of tea. I like that. Ollie P says the vibe should be in front of a buffer. It's typical of buffers relevant. Is the topic of buffers relevant in the Amp-X? Okay. So when we're talking vintage gear, as I showed you at the very beginnings, like you plug in the guitar into a low impedance input like of this mixing board, the guitar changes the character a lot. And in the very vintage old days, some of the effects had actually lower input impedance, which are important to make something to the pickups, as we could hear it. The Rangemaster, for instance, is one of those devices. And guess what? The Amp-X has an input impedance option. So depending on the pedal you are recording on the Amp-X, the input impedance will change. And of course, you will have the option of changing it from the preset position. But it is important to have a different interaction of the guitar with the pickups, because some sounds are only available in this combination. And I'm totally aware of that, so we will find this on the Amp-X. And thereby it is relevant. Yeah, relevant. I've heard Jimi Hendrix had shared echo voice speakers. Wow. I think Jimi Hendrix played a lot of different things. I'm not the expert. I think the most iconic sounds on the live albums are his Marshall stacks. We have seen Sun amps, we have seen Fenders. Definitely in the studio he used whatever was available, including the Leslie speaker cabinet and all that. Third Eye from the Stone and wang and all this kind of crazy nice stuff. Eric Bandera, Flexible. Hi Thomas, please check your email. I have an important information to you. I read it already. I know you want to get me into South America. Let's see when and how we can do this. There's nothing wrong about doing that trip finally, when I have the time. If you found the sound you like, it's the one. Here, that's a nice comment, Pedro. Of course, it can be inspiring to listen to all the different sounds. And I think it's like different flavors, different tastes. You should try it, and then you come up with your personal choice. And that is what you like the best, and that resonates with you. And this is what you will use when you want to express yourself, because there's the most value for you in that sound to express yourself. So I think there's a big disease of what we get these days is too many sounds, too many effects, because these days we have too many options. You can see the studio is full of pedals and of course full of options. But as I told you before, my personal creed is condense the whole thing into one sound and try to do most of the stuff with that. That gives you your own voice, and this gives you an identity, because you know, the singer that can switch from Tina Turner to Rod Stewart and Die Schlümpfe. I don't know, this doesn't exist in outside of Europe, put this like, you know, Freddie Mercury or whatever. It's like you should have one voice that is recognizable with different colors. And that's what I have done by using the vintage channel and having a bit more in front of it and blah, 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 changing stuff around. And this gives my own guitar playing a voice that you can recognize again. It's not a guitar player, it's me. And I was very lucky that I found that, but it was not there at my first day. I had different guitars, I had different amps, I had different whatever pedals, but in my early 20s I found me being that Strat and Plexi guy, which is what we have here. And I'm still happy with that. And that's still me, plus a few other things. But my voice lives there. Okay, what else do we see here? Oli P. Buffett. Okay, thanks. Yeah, welcome. Scott Henderson from Tore Down House album has the best Strat tone in my honest opinion. I think that's a killer sound. There are a few outstanding Strat tones being recorded. We will have debates on what is the best Strat sound ever. One of my reference Strat sounds is the Voodoo Child version, not the one with the wah-wah, the one on the Electric Ladyland in room sound. Strat neck pickup. It's so big. It's the biggest Strat sound I've ever heard, and still is. But one great Strat sound. Trust me, there are a few out there. Giffy Moda says, nowadays with the option it's like a buffet in a restaurant, and after a week you regret it because somehow you need to get rid of some increased weight. Yes, and you actually don't feel that well. If you have too much information, too many options, it hurts your focus. If you only have one option or two options, you are more focused. You have to make the sound with your fingers, with your hands, more than switching presets. And it's a mental thing to come and reduce the options. I think it's okay to look at all the options, get inspired, but then reduce, and then take care of yourself in a way that you don't like eat everything at once or listen to everything at once. Be more selective, be more focused, and develop some depth. Like in the old days, I mean, there were no options. The guys had a Fender amp and whatever, a Stratocaster or a Gibson guitar, and this is all there was. And then they played the blues, and they played hundreds of hours and with the same sound. But they still discovered new ways of hitting the strings and making the sounds with their hands. And you can't do this when you switch through 20 presets in 3 minutes. And that's actually the disease of today. Too many options. Also the internet. It's beautiful, like what we are doing right now is sharing the time and spending time together. But I try to make long live streams. I know some people tell me it's not, it should be shorter, and I want more information in a shorter time. But on the other hand, I also think if you stay with me for that long, some stuff will resonate with you, and you pick what you like, and it's probably deeper and more valuable. And here, Jeff Beck, yeah, of course. I mean, listen to Day in My Life or stuff like that. Live at Ronnie Scott's, killer sound, killer playing. That's a Strat tone. Cool. So thanks guys for joining in. I hope you had some inspiration of what a Strat can sound like. I'm sure there are way more. I didn't touch any jazz. I didn't touch, like transparent overdrives and stuff like that, which are also killer with Strats. That show a little bit of the quality of the pickups and then blend into a nice sort of breakup. All that can be beautiful. If you are the guy that does everything on a Les Paul, or let's say on a Telecaster or whatever guitar, I would love to have a challenge with the classic tones all done with one guitar. And I'm sure some of those sounds will be better with a different guitar, but overall I'm convinced I'll stay the winner. Anyway, take care guys, see you next week, same place, same time. Cheers.